we're recording. Obviously, we have the OGs here of who we play for. Very exciting. So, why don't we talk about first, well, it's 2020. What was it, 2007 when this all got started? So why don't you guys take turns talking about real quick, like, what is it like now sitting here 13 years later?
Great question. Art, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. I mean, it just like literally never ceases to amaze me where it's come. Thinking back to when we did start it, we had energy and enthusiasm and passion. We didn't necessarily know where to channel that. And, the directions changed a little bit over the years, and really has honed in on what, the focus is nowadays as more evidence, and we learn more about, the issue that at the time we thought was something rare. And as, we've all come to understand is all too common. And so it's, just incredible and continues to be inspiring to see, what this has become and truly the lives that have been touched and really saved by it. It's unbelievable, really.
Yeah, that's beautiful, RJ. Yeah, I would say the same for myself. It's been quite a ride. It's interesting to look back, and I turned 30 in January, and to think that, I was on the verge around this time in 2007, getting ready to turn 17 and like just having, so much to experience and understand. And really the opening years of who we play for has meant just like so much to us, like on a personal level and professional level. I take a look at, we got our first experiences in the entrepreneurial world. We're starting to understand what it means to do something that has purpose and has a foundation in something that's just bigger than yourself. I've learned how to public speak, presenting on behalf of who we play for, and that's carried me into, I'm speaking in front of customers all the time now. And to see it go from really just a grassroots effort to truly impacting people across really every state in the country. I was watching Mr. Macarone's most recent Speaking from the Heart, and that story of him meeting that couple from South Dakota. And I can tell you, when I was full time with who we play for, you were getting experiences like that all the time. And it's just like, wow, like you run into somebody, simple exchange of pleasantries, and the next thing you know, they're sharing their story. And, sometimes you're inviting them out to the block party and seeing them a couple months later. And it's like, wow, I casually ran into you at the airport and now you're actually here. You showed up. So it's cool to see what the impact has been. It's been beautiful to stay this connected with Mr. Macarone. I truly see Rafe in him. I was telling my fiance the story the other day, but the last time we went and stayed with him in Colorado, we're going through like a binder full of old handwritten notes that he used to just send to like celebrities and politicians and athletes. And he stumbles across an old yearbook photo, and it was like Rafe, like to the T. And so I look at Mr. Macro, and it's like, wow, this is like the closest thing that we have to Rafe, is literally just kind of being in your presence, like feeling your humor and just like who you are. So it's been quite an experience, and it's been great to stay connected with everybody at this level.
So obviously, you're in Philadelphia, RJ's in Denver. And so, and RJ, you're really close to Mr. Mac. You're right there. But how has it been, staying in touch and like working and stuff, still kind of doing who we play for things from a distance? When obviously, it's based in Cocoa Beach, but, it's made its distance and its rounds around the country at this point. Has it been easy to kind of stay in touch and keep going with the, the motive and the game and stuff?
So it definitely got difficult as, I got into a full-time job that like stresses me out completely. But, so I definitely spend less time on it, but just being involved in any way that I can. And that's what's always been one of the beautiful things about it, is from the start, it was pretty much give what you can, and, it'll be enough. And it's proven that. And, thanks to people like Evan and you really, and, those who who are putting in the work full time, like that's what makes it possible for us to, get involved and still make a difference on that smaller scale. We've now done, like, one of the coolest experiences around it for me has been doing heart screenings in Pagosa Springs, where Ralph lives, that he's set up now, that no one has to pay for. We've now done that 3 or 4 years in a row, and it's kind of become an annual tradition where we go down, and I, unrelated to that, end up going down there 2 or 3 times a year because where they live is just beautiful. It's literally one of my favorite places in the world. I feel Rafe every time I go down there and spend time with Ralph and Val, and it's literally like just one of my favorite things to do. So I'm blessed to be able to do that and to live. It's 5 hours or so it's a long hike, but it's well worth it to get down there every time. And getting to spend time with them, it's just so meaningful. And I we end up in tears every other time we go there still. So, but definitely one of the more like powerful things that, is available, and, seeing that continue to grow, and at some point our goal is that every student in the Pagosa Springs School District is screened, which is basically, through Ralph completely. And really seeing that growth, thinking back to, as we mentioned, where we started, and seeing that now in Pagosa Springs. And we've gone on some other heart screenings and met some other people doing it out here. And so it's really cool to continue to see that and be able to be a part of it, even still, maybe not full time, but just whenever we have the opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, like you said, it's grassroots. If you can give what you can give, it's appreciated. So what have you kind of been doing, Zane?
Yeah, I mean, it has, like you said, it's been difficult over time to stay as connected as we were. There'll never be another time like us coming together in college and sneaking into the business buildings that Evan had access to use all their beautiful resources to plan events and write the business plan and get college credits for it, and do all the things that we did to make this happen in the earliest stages. But as my career's evolved, from who we play for, I actually came up to Philadelphia. What brought me to Philadelphia was to work at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And I worked for Dr. Victoria Vetter, who's like a queen in this space. She's really pioneered a lot of the protocol for interpreting pediatric ECGs, and been a big driver of the movement to make this a regular part of practice, and ultimately decrease the rate of sudden cardiac death in youth. So I had a great opportunity to not only work at one of the best hospitals in the country and really the world, but to work on a very specific initiative to get AEDs and CPR training and education, and to help push forward local and statewide initiatives to mandate policies and best practices around how to respond to a cardiac arrest on school campuses. So I had the, distinct pleasure of like not just talking about ECGs, and we did have ECG research initiatives that she would do, but also getting up and teaching these classes and standing in front of educators and their staff. I got to share Rafe's story all the time. So I wasn't directly working with who we played for at the time outside of my board member activities, but it was, working through Rafe to deliver the same mission in Philadelphia. And as you know, and the audience probably knows now about Parent Heart Watch, we're all one collective group, really, fighting the same fight, no matter what method we're doing it, be ECGs or CPR, AED education. We're all really kind of hoping for the same outcome. So still been active however I can. I try to come down to all the events, support fundraising initiatives, and push new ideas within the board meeting calls, and encourage really the foot soldiers on the ground, because there's a lot of great work being done across multiple states. But for the most part, just sharing Rafe's story is even a good way to stay involved. I've had the chance to do that on a lot of different occasions outside of the work setting. So.
Absolutely. So something I wanted to ask you guys, obviously, we've talked to a ton of people now at this point who have gotten involved with who we played for over the years. But like I said in the beginning, you guys are the OGs. You guys are there. from the minute it started. But you were also there for, like, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys were there when everything happened with Rafe, correct? So what we don't need to rehash his entire, like, the story as far as the tragedy, but what something I wanted to ask you guys, because we don't really get, except for Evan occasionally and Mr. Mack, like a real testimony as to who Rafe was. Why don't you guys kind of talk about, you know, what kind of kid he was before this all happened?
Yeah, RJ, I would love for you to take that one first. Yeah,
I was thinking about it today, just kind of, you know, in preparation for this, and one of the like things that came to mind was, you know, as a young person, like just the courage that he had to truly like be a good friend is rare when you're looking at, you know, he died a week before his 16th birthday, so you know he was young, and I remember specific examples of like he would stand up for a friend. He would, you know, he was just fiercely loyal to a point that, you know, you don't see that a lot in, you know, children. A lot of times, you know, as kids, it's, you know, you know, you're trying to be on the popular side of things. Like that wasn't really what Rafe was about. He was just a friend, and I was kind of trying to think of like some good stories, but it's hard to even think of, you know, a specific story because we spent so much time and just grew up together, and like it was really, I remember soon after he passed, like just thinking like the things I miss most are the small things, just hanging out with him, getting picked up from school by Miss Macaron and going to soccer practice. I was in a little bit of trouble and I had my license right before he passed away. And so I wasn't allowed to drive anyone in the car, but my mom trusted Rafe enough. He was the only person I was allowed to drive. So I drove him every day to school. And, you know, those are the things that really touched me. And, you know, I'll never forget. He is so much of who I am before passing and really since. And, you know, it's just really one of the honors of my life that I did get to know him and grow up with him and, you know, see just the special person that he was. And, you know, as you can see, he touched a lot of lives before his passing and after, which is pretty, you know, just amazing.
Absolutely. What about you, Zane?
Yeah, that's beautiful, RJ. He really was a rare breed. I think a lot of my memories are from the soccer fields. You know, that was where RJ and I even really started getting close. It's where I spent a lot of my time with Rafe. We shared the field together in club and in high school. But it's like you said too. It's the little things. The kid was hilarious.
He was goofy.
Yeah, he was goofy. It was like he was so uniquely himself. Like RJ said, when everybody's trying to really blend in, he really stood out. He was not just fiercely loyal, like you said, but he was a fierce competitor, as unassuming as he appeared. You know, never the biggest kid out there. He was fast, but he wasn't going to be the fastest kid out there. But he was, you know, going to be the smartest kid out there for sure. And I've only really seen a couple other players like Rafe in my time on the field. A funny story that I have, I got so many memories about like our time playing soccer at our Saviors, and there was a picture that came up, a shared memory of us winning the Coastal Catholic League championship. Was that what it was called? And like, I think it was either my 7th or 8th grade year, so your guys' 6th or 7th grade year. And I put in a corner kick with like not much time left, and Rafe is there to head the ball in amongst a sea of giants. He jumped in and I think he turned and like hit it with like his upper back, but it looked awesome. And I just remember him running right to the corner. We like wrap each other up. It was a really cool experience of like really like a first like major success in our sports careers, if you want to call them that. And it was together. And we shared a couple other moments like that in high school soccer where it was just like I was always looking for either his head or Kieran's head. And it was almost guaranteed to go in because they were just tenacious. But yeah, I mean, the personal things, I always think about his humor, just who he was. He was loyal to the bone. You know, always a kid to kind of go to just to really kind of you're not looking to impress anybody. You're just gonna sit amongst them, and you're gonna get good vibes from him. He's an all around amazing kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something that, both you guys kind of touched on, and RJ, I think you said it like just specifically, was just the impact he made then and now still. And so kind of piggybacking off of that, one of the last things I really want to ask you guys is, obviously we all have goals for who we play for, but what would be some of your top goals that you would like to see this organization do within maybe the next like 5 to 10 years?
And I'm gonna let you take that.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a lot of like programmatic goals that we have that we're constantly pursuing, and Mr. Eason has really been an amazing force out there. We've gotten a couple school districts under our belt within the state of Florida to mandate this for student athletes. It really, what's cool about that is that it shows they're not kind of uniformly executing on it. Every school district and really every county and really every school has its own abilities to do one thing or another. They all have like their own peculiarities, but they're all getting it done. And so I would like to see us continue to get school districts on board, mandating this for student athletes. Who we play for has done a really great job of supporting those that can't necessarily afford, or it's still not as accessible for them to get the heart screenings done. So I'd love to see that continue to grow. I would also love to see and a lot of this is Evan, but he has this incredible ability to bring people together and to just find his way into one network or another. And it always seems like we're one connection away from, connecting to somebody that's going to ultimately give us, an even more powerful platform than we already have. So for us to continue to be that voice for setting cardiac arrest prevention, I would love to see us take that to the highest level and continue building relationships that are ultimately going to, make our students as safe as possible through ECG screenings. And we're definitely on the right path.
Absolutely. I'm looking for that too. I'm looking for that like slingshot out there.
Yeah.
We're looking for it. All right. What about you, RJ?
Mine are a little less specific, but that looking back, I've told Evan this before and Zane too. It's really at a point so much bigger than I ever really expected it to be, that I just I continually think wow, we did it. We obviously didn't, because the goal is that it's really such a preventable thing. Our goal is that it's more uniform across the board, that every student athlete gets a heart screening, and we're not there yet, obviously. So we have a long way to go, but in real terms, just the accessibility piece. I love that pretty much no questions asked. If you can't afford an ECG at a screening, you're going to get it anyway. And that's where a lot of the fundraising efforts do come in. That, I love that piece. And, every student deserves this. It's clearly something that needs to happen. And so really just continuing to, on the trajectory and hopefully getting some, more legislation involved that really is making this less of a grassroots thing. Obviously the grassroots start is where it had to start, but getting it to where it's, ideally if who we play for didn't have to exist, because, every student is required to get a heart screening. I don't think any of us would be too broken up about that. So, really getting that breakthrough is hopefully on some, in the realm of possibility, but I do think, and I'm continually proud of where it is now and what we've been able to do, and, what Evan and Kurt have been able to accomplish, most recently as well.
Absolutely. All right, perfect. Last question for you guys that we're asking everybody on this little thing. Who do you play for? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll take it. I watched a couple of these before, and I haven't really, it's evolved over time for sure.
Yeah.
RJ could probably agree to that. It used to, strictly be to play for Rafe, and I think just through this process, one thing I think back on is if you remember the office that we had in Tallahassee, we used to make everybody that came through sign this big white piece of poster board and write who they played for. And I remember one day I'm coming off of like the new Mumford and Sons album, and I really connected with this song called "For Those Below," and like the whole concept of this song is like, with who we are and the privilege that we have to just be here and in the positions that we are, I think there's this responsibility to really fight for those that don't necessarily have those same opportunities. So it's really been something that I've like tried to evolve from there is, I play for those below. Like, what can I do for, the people that don't necessarily have the opportunities, the families and the communities that like ours in Cocoa Beach that want their kids' names to be remembered when something like this happens. And Mr. Macron gave us that call to action. And then just really across really whatever initiative you're, a part of or passionate about, or whatever just your personal like thesis is, doing it with like your entire heart and with that purpose in mind. And for me, it's really, for those that don't have the opportunity to continue to be the best version of myself, and extend that opportunity downward to others that don't have that same opportunity.
Perfect. Great answer.
Yeah, well said. That's a tough one to follow up on there.
Yeah, let's cut.
I mean, for me, it did like, I do feel like still Rafe is a part of who I am and the identity that I have become and who I strive to be. He that he didn't have the opportunity to be here continues to remind me that, I do have the privilege and blessings, to continually strive to improve, my life and those around me and my family. And that's comes with responsibility, like Zane said. It's really extended beyond that though to like, I don't know how to put it, family, friends, community. I do feel like where I come from and the people that have helped raise me and develop me and just who I consider to be my family. I have about 500 people in my family. It's like really the biggest blessing to just have that support system from Florida to, extended. I moved out to Colorado, felt right at home because I could go be with the Macarons, and there's other people from Florida State community here in Tallahassee. And so it's really just grown to be just this community and support of, people around me that I do consider to be family. And not everyone has that, but that's something that everyone deserves to have. And I just to continue to, make those people proud and take care of, those who maybe don't have that opportunity, like Zane said, is kind of, how I think of that.
Perfect. Good answers, guys. Actually, something, Zane, just like to point out, you started talking about a song. When you said that, for some reason, the second you said that, I was like, had a flashback to riding in your little green truck with both of you guys singing Fire on the Mountain.
Oh, nice. That's really funny.
Out off of, like, what was that, Jackson Bluff or whatever, where the old IMs were?
Oh, that's Marshall Tucker.
Teal Terrorizer.
Oh, the Teal Terrorizer, yeah. Hey, shout out to your mom too, RJ. I'm pretty sure she was the first person that played that song for me.
Really? Oh, that's her go-to. Oh, I still play that for Lucy.
It's really funny.
That was a good song. And I remember, didn't we like rent some sort of van or something for like that one of those hard screenings? And it was a really interesting van.
Yeah, it was a really interesting experience. We pulled up an old party bus, I guess they call them. They call it.
Yeah.
I was like, it was an interesting van. I don't know how to put it, but it was interesting.
Yeah, we made it happen. I think we screened like 100 players that day.
Oh, that was a good time. Yeah. Very good, guys. Well, that's it.
All right. Well, this was fun. Hey, it's been really cool seeing you from, afar doing your thing too, Molly.
Oh, thanks, homie. We're trying.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
We'll have to get together sometime soon.
Yeah,
Maybe one day.
absolutely. Hey, congratulations, RJ.
Congratulations right back at you,
Guys,
brother.
congratulations on your engagements too.
Yeah, we're grown now.
You're growing
Yep.
old, guys.
If you couldn't tell by RJ's mustache, we're grown up now.
This actually grew the second I asked her. It just popped out of nowhere.
Oh, that's the mustache I've
The
always
second she
admired
said yes.
for.
Awesome. Well, guys, it was great to see you guys. We'll get together soon, and then I'll upload this to Facebook.
Very cool.
All right.
Sounds good.
Talk to you guys
Later,
later.
guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.